Good morning and welcome to my classroom. You know, when I first started teaching design, I wish that I had somebody that would have pulled me aside to say, this is how you set up your classroom so that students will learn and work like designers. And that just never happened. So over the last 10 years of my teaching career, I've sort of developed my classroom. And I think that it's not perfect, but it's a good example of how you can set up yours. And so I'd like you to consider this video as just a sort of a behind the scenes and hopefully to give you a little tips on how to set up your own classroom. All right, so let's begin at the beginning. Let's go to the front door. I want to share with you how I display my student work. So let me flip the camera around. And a lot of us use pins or staples. I did this for the first couple of years, and having to pull those pins and staples out of the wall for each project was a pain in the booty. And so what I've done here is these are 11 by 17 retail plexiglass sign holders, and they work wonderfully. They're fantastic for ease of use. They look fantastic. They keep the work flat, and I think it's a great way to display your student work. You can see on this side I've got them in portrait orientation so that we can do like movie posters or other posters or larger works in that format. And then, of course, as we move down the wall, and let's not gloss over this, I have my arcade here. I was the advisor for the Gamers Club on campus here for a couple of years, and I may start it up again next year. But in the meantime, we've got it here for stress relief, or whatever. In the last 5 minutes of class, I allow my students to get up and just have fun. And so over here, I've got two things that I wanted to talk about: my library. And then, of course, an example of this is not just trash on the wall. This is actual graphic design, and so both of them have a purpose. I've got books in here like Los Logos and the Logo Lounge series, and they are here for inspiration. And the stuff in the middle helps me teach them how to critique real work, and it's not just trash on the wall. This stuff is real graphic design. Some of it's good, some of it's okay, but it's all real graphic design examples. And in fact, I also have one here that I produced. I did the logo and the package design for about 70 of the packages in this product line right there. And so it's a way for me to sort of tie real world design into what we're doing here in the class. Obviously, I know this is a very large classroom. It's bigger than most design classrooms, that's for sure. I've got 32 workstations, and let's go to the back here. So what I did on the back wall, I really was thinking, first of all, it was just a big blank wall. They've got them colored for some whatever they chose to color them gray, but it's actually containing the wiring for all of my workstations. But the text on the walls basically is just an example of fonts that my students can use in their projects. I just wanted to just give them some more inspiration. Everything in the room is designed to surround my students with inspiration, and everything has a purpose. In fact, on this wall is my art history and graphic design trends wall. You'll see that it starts with Art Nouveau, moves on to all the way at the end here to the most current digital art and interactive media. I took one semester and basically printed out and laminated and then hung all of this stuff. It took about 3 months or so to do. And to be honest with you, what I wanted to do was throw QR codes on either every one of them or just some of them and turn them into assignments, and I still can do that. I might just do that this year, I don't know. And so as we move down on the wall, this is an example. These are all student work. I just have been collecting the best of the best over the years, and these are just examples of that. And as we move further down the wall here, these are show posters that I actually got at a local, I went to the Segerstrom Center of Performing Arts and asked them if they had any show posters that they were not using anymore that they were, holding on to, and they gave me all of these posters. If you're enjoying this video, please take a moment to hit that like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our future videos. Thank you. And I hope you can see sort of a theme in my classroom. There is lots and lots of examples of real graphic design on the walls and all around. In fact, right here is my brochure rack that I'm actually very proud of. Everywhere you go, in any hotel, you're going to see a brochure rack that's full of great graphic design examples, and also not so great graphic design examples. You'll find stuff like this in a brochure rack, right? So, I mean, it's a great example of what to do and what not to do. So this is actually, I use this to help my students learn how to critique work and how to, gain inspiration from different types of design work. And right over here, I've got a Roland BN-20. This is a sign maker, but it also does a lot of other things, but I primarily use it for stickers. I've set up a project where my students have the ability to develop a sheet of merch for themselves, and then we print out their designs on stickers. And then I've got this over here. This is a Uninet, a 560 iColor from iColor Print. It is a white toner printer. So what it does, it creates t-shirt appliques, pretty much. And if I show you on my screen here, I've got a white design right here, getting ready to go. I'm just going to send it right over to the printer, and I'll show you what that looks like. So what you do is you take the first copy, that's the A paper, and this is the B, this is the adhesive. Goes back to back, or front to back, however you want to say that. And then lay down the Teflon. And at 320 degrees, what I do is I press this for 2 minutes. Then you do a hot peel. And that is ready to go onto a shirt. Lay that down. And that goes flat 3 inches from the neckline, approximately, down the center. Throw some Teflon on it. That goes on for 2 minutes. And then it just needs to cool because it's a cold peel. And what I like to do is I put it right on the tabletop here, and I hold it down. You can feel the cool of the wooden table, or whatever material this is. The cool of the tabletop that cools it down. And there we have it. And then back to the center of my classroom over here, I've got an XTool F1 Ultra laser engraver. It's not connected to, I took my computer out, but it is disconnected at this time, but I also have an air purifier down here. This has 2 lasers in it. It's got a 20-watt fiber laser and a 20-watt blue diode laser, so it does wood as well as metal. This right here is a screen printing system that is created by XTool. The laser engraver burns the screens, and then you can, of course, do your screen printing right here on this little platen. And in fact, I went and I pulled out this screen here. That's an example of one that we burned for the City of Gold. You can see there's the shirt that we made from it. And it's really a great system that becomes a permanent screen that we can use at any time for as many as we want. It's a metal screen that has the emulsion on it that is burned off through the use of the laser engraver. This right here, I just thought it's also important for you to see the actual, the printers that I use in my class. Well, the printer that I use. This is an Epson EcoTank. If you haven't heard of the EcoTank series, you should take a look at it. It's amazing. This has enough ink to last for about 9,000 or 10,000 prints. Literally, that's if we take a look, the ink storage is right here. It's refillable, but I only fill it about maybe once a year. If you are looking for a really inexpensive way to do stickers in your class, this little brother, what is it called? A ScanNCut DX. This is less than $300, and what it does, it does not even need to be connected to a computer. It will scan anything. If you draw a picture on a sticker paper, on vinyl sticker paper, and then just put it right in here, it will detect the image, create an outer ring so you can actually control all of this, which it will cut and then produce your stickers. It's a really great little tool if you don't want to have to deal with or you can't get some of the larger equipment like the Roland BN-20, or if your budget is small, I would absolutely consider the brother ScanNCut. There are two other items I'd like to show you right over here. First, this is my bookbinding machine. It's from, it's called ProBind 1000. This little thing is amazing. It creates hardbound, actually, well, you can buy the hardbound book covers and you can create your own books. It's got an adhesive that goes down the spine, and you simply print out the paper and put it right in the middle, and it heats and binds it together. This is an example of my this is a 3/4 inch binding, or a 1/2 inch, and you can see that I use it for my portfolio just as an example for my students. And what I do is every year my advanced and honors class will create a hardbound copy of their portfolio. And the second thing I want to show you over here is my product photography booth. This was donated by one of our Design Rescue clients, and we use it to take pictures of anything that we print out that I'd like them to put into their portfolio, such as these booklets that we created, or any package designs, or anything that is printed and that should go into their portfolio. And then I thought I would just take a moment and show you what I've got on the whiteboard over here. I think it's important to help students just remind them throughout the year of different things like the principles of art and design, and just keep it ever present for them. Critiquing questions, prompts to help them understand how to critique things, and so on. And then this right here is brand new for me this year. I've created an organizational chart for my advanced and honors class, the Design Rescue Studio. It is a real studio, so I gave them real jobs. I've got an art director, 2 design managers, a marketing and promotions, and studio operations directors. And then everybody else would be my designers. I gave everybody an opportunity to sort of apply for the positions, and I spoke to them individually, and I gave the jobs to the ones that wanted it the most and that I felt would fit the position the best. So that's brand new this year. And then I have, hiding behind my whiteboard over here, I've got lots more stuff for my students to utilize. We've got the sweatshirts, we've got the t-shirts, a range of colors and sizes, and then we've got Let's see. This is actually a donation. I put an ad out in, in Facebook, one of the community groups, and asked for anybody that might have had any wood that they can donate for my laser engraving projects. And this is only a part of it. We've got a whole bunch more that we've already used. These are keychains that we engrave when we do all of that stuff for the pop-up shop that we have on campus. This is an example of one of the designs that my students made last year for the school. A little bit of school spirit. Those go on hats. And so this is just a small portion of the merchandise that we use for the pop-up shop. In the back room here, I have what used to be storage areas, and I'm sure they were used for other things. But now what I do is I've converted it to a conference room, and in fact what we do in here is I bring my design rescue clients to meet my students who are their designers, and we sit and have a consultation right here. It's essentially, clients sit over here, my students sit over here, and I will sit in the corner keeping my mouth closed after I guide them through the whole process and what's going to happen. My students do all of the talking, and on the wall we've got examples of some of the work that we've produced over the last, I would say, 7 or 8 years that I've been doing this work-based learning program. You can see some of those projects there. And then if we move into the room over here, this is another storage area that I've converted, or I'm converting, to a maker space, and also continued storage. It's where we keep a lot of the stuff for the pop-up shop that we do in the advanced and honors graphic design class. So if I flip the camera around, you can see that we've got, the boxes have sweatshirts, we've got t-shirts, we've got more sweatshirts down here and other things for the shop. It's, like I said, it's in disarray at the moment, but it will be cleaned up in the next couple of weeks before we go on Christmas break. Let me just crack the back door and get some airflow in the back room here. And thank you again for joining me for another episode. I hope this has been inspiring, or at least helpful to see what it looks like in another classroom, another design classroom. I hope this has given you some ideas for what you can do to enhance your own class. Please feel free to leave a comment down below, and if you have any questions or you just want to talk to me directly, I am fully accessible. I'm happy to answer all of your questions, any of the questions that I can answer. Let's just say that. All right, and so have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm not just a graphic designer and a high school teacher. I am also an author. I wrote a book called The Dragon Codex: Quest for the Relics of Design. This is a great story about 3 young dragons who have to learn graphic design to save the world from creative destruction. It's a book for young adults, and it's a story about family, it's a story about friendships, and a story about finding your place in the world. Pick up a copy today. I know you'll love it.